A perennial frustration of mine is that I do not think about my thoughts enough to communicate them to others. Often, I feel that I can mentally comprehend content and develop great insights, yet when it comes to sharing these thoughts with others, I'm quite unsatisfied with my performance as I observe there's regular lack of clarity and difficulty of understanding. Or I find myself awkwardly scrambling to attempt to discern how to communicate what I want to say. The diagnosis of this predicament seems simple. I just do not understand what I'm talking about well enough, and I do not allocate enough time to thinking about how to present these thoughts to other people. While I acknowledge this might not be a unique or a significant issue, it is one I would love to directly combat while I enjoy the luxuries of youthfulness and a life bound to relatively few commitments. Thus, the project I intend to pursue is to indefinitely write an essay every 2 months and upload it to YouTube. On paper, this looks like a phenomenal idea to cultivate speaking skills, writing skills, a deeper English vernacular, creativity, develop thoughts, and more. And so in this first essay, I want to parse out my thoughts on why I think this project will be valuable and helpful for the problem I outlined at the beginning, and in general, as well as clarify the scope and boundaries of what I intend to do with this project. In my opening paragraph, I assume that this project will combat the problem I diagnosed, yet I don't think that the connection is obvious, and I do want to expand on how I hope this project will be valuable in that arena. The first facet of this problem is comprehension. When it comes to school classes, I think one of the best indicators of mastery of a subject is the ability to teach that subject. Teaching is difficult because your success is at the hands of another person. And so what works for you might not work for your student. Yet the onus is still on the teacher to bridge that gap. The best teachers and also thinkers use the familiar building blocks of their subjects to create unfamiliar paths that the students might find easier to traverse. Furthermore, while tests measure one's capability to perform in the subject's context, teaching generally calls for an uncharacteristic use of the subject. You use the knowledge of the subject, but not for an area where the subject is practically meant for. For example, science is used for research and developing technology, and thus academic tests problems often mimic these environments, asking for calculations needed to achieve a desired result or an explanation of what happens when certain variables are adjusted. While these characteristics can and probably should be part of teaching, the essence of teaching is stretching your familiarity to tackle any student, essentially to innovate. Pondering teaching and testing could be a separate essay on its own. But to get back to point, I want to have a strong enough foundation of understanding to venture into that sort of creativity. This is why I believe an essay format would be quite effective. In essays, the writer is sharing their thoughts, and sharing has a didactic element if you intend for your audience to understand your points. So even if these essays do not garner an audience, I think the practice of thinking through my thoughts and sharing them in a didactic environment is the remedy that I seek and translates to developing a deeper understanding and ability to communicate with others. Moreover, writing an essay forces me to use and speak more English. While I believe comprehension is a fulfilling goal in itself, clarity in communication is another area I would love to improve in. Unfortunately, a robust knowledge does not necessarily translate to the ability of acute descriptiveness. The professor who is a poor communicator and thus teacher is an experience that nearly all college students have, myself included. This is because there are two main facets of speaking: the words said and the delivery of the content, both of which I would like to improve on. Writing and presenting essays seems to be an excellent practice to both increase my dictionary of usable words and experiment with linguistic styles and phrases, but also my diction and general public speaking skills. I want to treat this project not as a collection of video essays, but rather as essays preserved in video format. The distinction being, I intend to present these as if I were presenting them face to face with another human being. So no editing and no visual tools to aid in attention retention. Just a static camera recording my speaking and physical demeanor and gesticulations. The last thing I'd like to do in this first essay is to outline some parameters and expectations for this project. First, I'm designing this project for my personal benefit. While every channel and video on YouTube does have a chance to be successful, I'm not doing this project to garner attention or success, but to cultivate a deeper and more nuanced thoughts, stronger writing and teaching skills, and to just practice public speaking. Thus, I will not change the style of this project to cater to an audience, and will try my best to avoid looking into YouTube statistics and will disable comments for these videos. I say this to warn future hypothetical viewers if they find this format odd or repulsive and want an explanation for why things will be the way they are. But more importantly, to keep myself accountable and faithful to this project. With that said, I might change things if it would help fulfill the purpose of this project. Also, if this project does become successful, that would be fantastic. I'm not trying to discourage success or interactions, but I'm just communicating that it is not a priority nor a goal. If anything, it is something to dream about, and something which I feel I've probably spent too much time dreaming about. I recognize that feedback is helpful for this project's goal, and the format described thus far does discourage interactions and contradict what I just said. So if you do have feedback or comments you would like to give, feel free to send me an email linked in the description. If you even would like to have a chat, send me an email. I thoroughly enjoy thoughtful and prepared conversations. I have a few last remarks about the content though. I hope to do these essays with little research and to just build these off of things I've read, heard, or observed to work with the just cognitive skills. I know researching is a valuable skill to have, but I'm just not interested in that for now, though this is something I might add on in the future. I would also love for all of these to have complete and hopefully polished thoughts, but I can already foresee this being a difficult challenge to take on. Not all of these will be argumentative or didactic, and some might have unfinished thoughts that I'm just throwing out or just be an exploration of observations or claims I find. And so I tend to complete the process of writing, presenting, and uploading each of these essays every 2 months, which explains some of my decisions mentioned above, and hopefully will force me to devote a healthy amount of time to this without giving myself too much time away. I'm excited and hopeful to see how this project turns out, and if you're watching these, I hope you enjoy the journey as well. Thank you.